Guys, deluded. Now I know I'm late to the party, but this morning, obviously it's evening time. This morning, I was actually reading the BBC article, as I'm sure all of you have, in regards to UEFA and their announcements. They've made a couple of announcements, in the sense that they've actually what's going over people's head is the sense that the Champions League final after 2020, could actually 2021 could actually be played in another continent. But we'll start off with the big one. Obviously, there's talk of bringing a third UEFA European tournament. I must admit, I don't have a clue. It's a very ambiguous statement made by these UEFA lads. Apparently, it's been given the green light. What sort of tournament would it be? What I read, and my first interpretation basically of what I read, is that it's going to be a tournament for clubs that really don't have a chance in Europa and definitely in the Champions League. So no disrespect, I'd like to think that, and it also said the Europa League would decrease as well. So there would be, what would it be, Champions League, Europa League, and then the next thing, to which you'd like to think the likes of, I don't know, Bait, Applewell, sides like that that really and truly have no realistic chance of getting through to the latter stages of the Champs or Europa League, can play in that and things like that and have a competitive competition. That's all great. Or is it going to be a competition for cup winners? If you've won domestic campaigns or domestic cup competitions or something like that, you're gonna or lesser leagues. Are you gonna put them into that? What's gonna also be the carrot of winning it? Obviously, the trophy is the biggest carrot enough, but if you win Europa, obviously, if you win Champions League, that's it. You win Champions League. I mean, it's the biggest carrot of it all, and you're technically in the Champions League for the next year, despite if you came fifth in that. Europa League, it hasn't got the gloss it did have if you go back many years ago when it wasn't referred to as that. The carrot is the Champions League. So what would the carrot of winning this third competition be? Does it mean, on logic, you'd like to think it would follow Europa League's lead in the sense that you get, if you win this third competition, you now get into Europa League. But by that same logic, what would stop you from saying you can get straight into the Champions League? So in terms of the level of competition, what they've actually said means, to me, it implies it's going to be the lesser teams. But I don't know. Is it going to be? I don't know. Is it going to be mid-table? Is it going to be teams that miss out on Europa League, but you hold them in high regards and they've got good players and stuff, and that's a competition for them? I'm not too sure. For me, it stinks of just money and somehow and things. If it decreases the amount of players and teams in the Europa League, I'm all for that, because Europa League gets real nitty and gritty. Take it from an Arsenal fan in the last 2 years. There's a lot of games to be played in the general basis of that. So yeah, there's also talks of hosting the Champions League final in many countries. I've seen New York. There was quite a few, Miami. There was quite a few different locations in America named for the Champions League final past 2020. For me, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna be a fan of that, because it's meant to be a European competition. What would be the point of that? I get globalization, football's soccer, as them lot call it, is a global game, and some people love and are diehard football fans in all over North America and things, and they might not get to see it. So to have them on their doorstep is great. The problem is UEFA, if we're honest, it's a European competition, so it's to stay in Europe. That's why we have pre-season friendlies and the tours. And if we're honest, it's not going to be done for the fans. This is just a way of somehow marketing and making more money and all of these sort of things. So yeah, man, I don't know what's going to happen in that regards to the Europa League and the Champions League final. And just as a side note, just on the basis of this, shouldn't it make more sense to make a sort of on the basis of globalization, and they want to put Champions League finals in this location, and obviously we're seeing the Genoa versus Barcelona debate. Their game could be played in America the start of next season, a league game. If you're really on this globalization thing and that's the carrot we're going for, surely it would make more sense to merge the Champions League with the Copa Libertadores, and probably, I don't think it does, but incorporate some North American sides possibly. I do believe the Copa Libertadores, I can't say it, should stay as a standalone tournament. It's a great South American version of the Champions League. What I mean by that is you could possibly take the likes of Santos, Boca Juniors, these sort of sides there, the best sides in Europe, merge and play a global tournament where there's fixtures in Europe, there's fixtures all over South America, possibly fixtures in North America, group stage games hosted all over the place. That would merge everything and allowing players, football fans that are based in the European continent and all over the different subparts of America to see their players. Obviously, it sounds great in principle, but then it would be an issue, because if this was going on at the league in mid-season while leagues are going on, That's a lot of flying. Imagine you're playing, I don't know, it's Arsenal versus Spurs on Sunday, and we've got Santos away on Wednesday. We've got to fly to Brazil. That could take a lot, and then we've got to fly back. I don't know if we have a big game on the other day. I don't think South American players would complain because they do a lot of flying, but the logistics behind it could make it unrealistic. As much as I'm selling myself this idea, it'd be a lot of air miles and things like that. So yeah, I don't think the players of African and South American descent or heritage would complain, but it would be an issue if you're playing, I don't know, Santos on, like I said, we're playing Spurs on Sunday, Santos on Wednesday. You might have another group stage game on the Tuesday next week. So you could visit South America twice, go back and forth essentially twice. A land trip, and that would be a lot on the squad. You'd have to probably rotate. It's a lot of flying, it's a lot of people, carriages, it's a lot of logistics, it's a lot of that sort of thing, to be fair with you. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but I do believe a globalized football tournament is going to happen very soon, like merging South America and things. I say very soon, it is very unrealistic, and we're probably 15 to 20 years away from that, but it is what it is, man. So yeah, guys, Deluded, get in the comments, subscribe, and do the rest if you wish. I'm out.